Welcome back to the GSL Code. I am Wolf, and with me is Kaldor, and as I mentioned earlier, we are going to have Symbol against Seed. Symbol, one of the top Zergs right now, actually hasn't really been able to show it too much. He did show quite a performance at Iron Squid, but this is his first time, as far as I remember. No, actually, he's played in Code before, several times, in fact. But he's coming back up from Code B. He requalified, so see if he can show himself against Seed, a big fan favorite, someone who showed himself in Team League. People were calling him the Illusion Protoss in Korea. And let's not waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and get in that game.
And here we are on Hohana, our first map today. To the top left, we have our TSL player. This is Symbol, one of those Zerg players in the TSL roster. They have so many amazing Zergs, of course, also Paul, the Terran player. But here we have Symbol right now, starting in the red. And to the bottom right, his opponent in the blue color, Incredible Miracles. Seed, a very, very strong Protoss player, especially against Zerg. He is very good. It's his best matchup. He has a 60% win ratio. And it's kind of interesting to note, we just saw Boom Boom play, and Seed had to face Boom Boom in the Code S group, was able to take him down with 2-0. So Boom Boom with a very impressive performance against Hard in his matchup against Terran, but against Seed he just did not have a chance at all. On the other hand, something that we should probably mention here is that we also had a game not recently, 2 months ago, between Symbol and Seed in the GSTL, and Symbol was able to defeat Seed. It was only one map, it was 1-0, maybe just a little bit of an indicator to give you guys an idea what those two players are dealing with here.
Very true. I actually spent a ton of time yesterday at the TSL house. I was there for probably about 8 or 9 hours. It was really fun, hanging out with Coach Lee and some of the players. And it's Coach Lee's opinion right now that they have so many good Zerg players. There's a huge stacked list of Zerg players in that TSL house. I don't need to list them all to you. And they have Pult, of course, as well, a very strong Terran. So it feels like the Zerg players ZVZ and ZVT are really, really good. But right now they only have Inori as a Protoss. Well, even though Inori is very good, this matchup is definitely the toughest one right now for TSL Zergs because they don't have as many opportunities to practice with top level Protosses, at this point. So this is something that Coach Lee was talking about a little bit yesterday. We do see him taking the faster third hatchery location rather than the natural because he was blocked by a pylon.
Especially with a lot of those Protoss players still being in Code S, obviously they don't really want to. They want to prepare for their own matchups and not help someone else out. They might just throw in a few games, but still, and that's something that you always have to consider. Sometimes it's really hard to find a appropriate training partner because everyone has to play. Everyone has their Code A matches, their Code S matches coming up. If you are lucky, you find someone who has exactly the opposite matchup to play, and then you can practice quite a lot. But this is definitely a problem that you're facing sometimes, especially when, as you mentioned, in your own team there are not this many Protoss players.
Yeah, that's a very big issue for a lot of teams. Well, now Seed, our Illusion Protoss right now, has actually skipped second gas and is also not doing a Forge Fast expand. Very uncommon in Korea to see a gateway expand. He's not taking a second gas. He is chronoing his warp gate and his first gateway. He has another chrono available. Kaldor, I think we very well may see a 4-gate here.
This is something that has been a lot more popular recently, and Seed actually did a few 4-gates in the past. He was really fond of he played this in the GSL as well already, and it was quite successful. This is something that we see a lot more often. The start, not really necessarily the 4-gate, but they're just starting with the gateway so that you have the option of getting aggressive. And with him killing the first Overlord, this is a huge thing, and right now he's going for the expand.
This is actually an unheard of type of expand. Double Stalker Chrono Pressure here is going to punish someone who has late speed, which is something that we see from Symbol here. He's actually not been able to start that just that he got double gases up, but he's gotten a very late speed, so he's actually going to have to make a ton of Zerlings and will likely lose a lot of them. Well, he gets this expansion up basically for free. This is like a 1-gate expand, but it's not the Sentry one. It's a Stalker Pressure version, and I really like this. This is kind of creative. This type of strategy is a little bit risky, but against what he's scouted from his opponent, it's actually very smart.
And speed is going to be so late, so he can do some damage with the Stalkers as long as he stays off creep, but he does not really want to commit here. He could have done a lot of damage with some gateway pressure because of the well-greedy play of Symbol, but on the other hand, when he took down this Overlord, he knew exactly that Symbol had no idea what was happening, so he had no scouting. Symbol only knows that there has been a start with the gateway, but he does not know about the expansion, he does not know how many gateways there are, so the Zerg play is completely in the dark at this point.
Look at Seed's reaction here. I mean, Symbol did a great job trying to trap these Stalkers, but he does not quite get it because Seed knew that that was likely going to be the case. Now he's forced a lot of Zerglings, he's going to get home for free. There are 16 slow Zerglings on the map that aren't going to do a whole lot. Now the Illusion Protoss himself, man, he is getting Hallucination. That's something he's very known for, not only for scouting, but also for using fake units to trick his opponent. And the reason why he's called in Korea the Illusion Protoss is because his Korean name is very similar to the word for an illusion or an illusionist. And so people started to call him that, of course, also because he makes a lot of hallucinations. And at this point, we're going to see a little bit more Stalker pressure here. He's going to lose these Stalkers, though, as Zergling speed is about to finish. He's overextended himself just a little too much.
Yeah, the Stalkers are both being killed. This is a huge problem. Speed is done, and therefore, finally, the Stalkers are able to catch... the Zerglings are able to catch up with the Stalkers. Here's the illusion of... or hallucination of one of the Phoenixes to get some scouting information. Needs 3 force fields to wall off here. Few of the Zerglings escape. He's not quite able to take down one of the sentries. Could have trapped a few more.
Yeah, that could have been a lot better, but either way, this Phoenix will come in here, will scout the Evolution Chamber and the Saturation here. He's got 11 drones on the way, and he's going to know that because he saw how many Zerglings there were, and he's going to see how many drones are out, and he's going to be like, wait a minute, you actually just need more drones at your natural. Probably making a lot of drones right now. He's seen no Roach Warren, so he's going to be able to cut some corners here, and in fact, may even make a 3rd Nexus fairly soon if he wants to. He's starting a Forge at his main base, and I'm a little bit surprised he's neither teching nor taking a 3rd base at this point. I think he's going to consider doing one or both very soon, because just to sit back and power up gateways, it's not what I expected, but it's what he's doing right now, adding a few more gateways, and there's the Twilight Council.
We have 57 Harvesters for Symbol now, and he built a very late Roach Warren. He's starting his tech, and, well, at this point he finally has the scouting information that he needs. He had a few Zerglings on the map, we saw them earlier catching the Stalkers. He has now one at the 3rd base, knows there is no 3rd, no attempt of getting it. Has also vision about the wall in. He does not necessarily know about the tech in the main base. We have the Twilight Council here, but Symbol is not in a bad position. He has a decent amount of Harvesters, is now going for the first few Roaches, upgrades started as well. So Seed needs to be very careful here. He's going for Blink, but this is going to be pretty tricky.
Yeah, Symbol has been playing this one so safely, I would say. I mean, someone might argue he made too many Zerglings in some situations, but, I mean, that is the safe way to play. He's playing very much in the dark right now because he doesn't know what's going on, but that's why he's making that Overlord outside the base into an Overseer, and very soon he will be able to send that into the main base and see exactly what he's up against. But until then, he has made a lot of units, he's made a lot of Zerglings, and he's playing very safely. He's getting +1, getting the Roach speed, and he's doing all of this knowing that his opponent has seen everything
You know what I don't like? He's not getting any creep spread, nothing. I mean, he has the Overseer now in his opponent's main base, he has the scouting and everything, but he has no creep spread whatsoever. And this is really odd. If you recall the games that he played against MMA, for example, or against all those Terran players just the weekend at Iron Squid, he did so well with this creep, but right now we don't see anything like it. Obviously, if you play against the Terran, you will quite often go for the 4 Queen build, but just using 25 energy every now and then to just one creep tumor, that would really pay off here in the long run.
Yeah, I completely agree. He is now making 14 Roaches. Roach speed is finishing up along with that +1. This is very common to see. And neither player has really put on that much aggression of the other, except for that Stalker aggression in the beginning, then that Zergling pressure that we saw early on. We haven't seen any big battles. It looks like now is the time, though, that Seed wants to move out. He is going to move out with Blink here. He's rallying Observers, or he will be as soon as that Robotics finishes. There it is. He's going to be rallying an Observer here, and with +2, Blink, and that Observer, this is going to be very textbook Protoss vs. Zerg of 6 months ago, essentially. This type of push was the type of thing that you saw almost every single game before the builds evolved a little bit here. Robotic Support Bay on the way here as well, and he's going to follow this up with a Warp Prism. He wants to commit pretty heavily to this, or at least give the illusion that he's committing heavily to this as he takes his 3rd base.
Another Overseer has been sent to the bottom right. We have the 4th base taken, as we'll mention. And here come the units for Symbol. The Trying to catch a few forcing force fields, very important here, not catching too many Zerglings, so he lost energy on his sentries. And once again, the attempt to flank him.
This is a great position, though, I feel, for Seed if he controls this well. He's got the rocks destroyed. He's got a defensive position here with even a sentry with a ton of energy. He botches the force fields, though. That could have been awesome.
Yeah, again, that was the same problem that he had earlier. Trying to take down the third here. The force fields, he will be able to force a cancel on the Nexus.
Yeah, these force fields have been a little bit poor from Seed right now, and Symbol is just bullying him right now with this huge group of units.
And he's doing a very nice job. He's just delaying the third, and this is so important. If you delay the third, you get your tech. You have a fourth already. Beautiful position, and these force fields are just not good today.
Yeah, they're not very good at all. And he blinked all his Stalkers back. His sentries were exposed there for just a moment. He is making Colossi right now, but against the composition he's facing, it's not necessarily the best thing. It does give him a leg up, though, against these Infestors that are on the way. And you can see the little outline of a Nexus over there. He's trying to make another base here, but I mean, I just don't think it's the right time, to be perfectly honest, until he deals with this huge army. And Symbol with the fourth base up, which soon will be saturated, he's actually just going to feel very comfortable to continue to pressure. He has so many units, Seed will never be able to move out until essentially he's maxed out.
He starts to do this War Prism, Harris. He has the War Prism moving alongside the left side of the map, but still, this is very, very hard position for him to be here. And the Colossus is out, so now he can just try to take the third base, but it is so late.
Yeah, in fact, he's going to have to cancel again, and he does. Zerlings, though, getting trapped. These are the best force fields we've seen so far in this game from Seed.
Those are not too brilliant. He loses only a few Zerglings, runs away with all of them. So how much did he lose here? 200, 300 minerals?
Yeah, not too much. And in fact, he needed it to lose it in order to make these Infestors. So he just wanted to push things through. Now the Hive is done. And Caldor, this is a pretty good position for Symbol. He will have to clean up these Zealots, which do have +2 at this point. And finally, he does get this around. War Prism has to get out of there as well. And Symbol looking very dominant this game. However, as any Zerg knows, when that Protoss gets maxed out, anything can happen.
Yeah.
He does have the third base up and running, basically, or he will very soon. And a maxed out Protoss army with +3 is very scary. You still have to deal with it appropriately. He doesn't have that Hive. I mean, he has the Hive tech, but he doesn't have the Spire finish to make Broodlords just yet. He doesn't have the Greater Spire even started. So he's going to have to make do with this Roach Ling army with some Infestor support, which, if you make a mistake with one of those engagements, you can lose a game over it.
He needs to use his fourth. He needs to take gas at his fourth. He has the base, but he's not really mining.
Yeah,
he's just building 11 drones. He does not necessarily need more drones. Well, yeah, he needs a few more drones. He's actually right. But he needs the gas. He definitely needs the gas. He has the minerals, but gas is lacking.
Oh, this is a pretty lucky situation for Seed here. He's actually going to catch Symbol in an awkward engagement. This is what I was talking about before. This can actually change a whole game. In fact, I'm extremely surprised Seed does not commit there. He has 3 Colossi. There are no Corruptors nearby. He could kill all the Infestors, but instead he decides to pull back. A really weird choice, especially after catching Symbol in that awkward position. +3 is done now, though, and that may have been what he was waiting for. 19 additional Banelings on the way here, as well as an Ultralisk Cavern, +2 Carapace, and the Adrenal Glands. He is finally using that fourth base, as you're mentioning. He's using it only for minerals right now, which he does have 3,400 minerals of. He's now taking the gas there. It's very, very important for him to get that gas
very
out.
late, though.
Yeah, he just needs it for this additional tech, for the Ultralisk, the Greater Spire, everything.
Still 3,000 minerals and only 100 gas, so that's a big problem for him, or will be later on. He takes another base of 5th, and if he only takes the gas over there, that would be really good for him. He needs to boost his gas count a little bit so that he can remax on tech units as soon as the fight's over. That's very important now. We have the second Robo coming up for Seed, and he has the 200 supply army very soon that you talked about, and this is just so scary.
It's so strange that he's not being more aggressive with it. I mean, it's almost as if he wants to...
He didn't have the tech, I think that... what do you mean? You mean Seed?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were talking about Seed.
No, yeah, Seed is being so passive with this army, especially after catching that one army out, but he's now got... Plus, it's like he's giving his opponent time to get Broodlords out, to get Corruptors out. He's even getting Neural Parasite, getting better upgrades out for his ground units. You can only see +1 on the way now for Seed for his armor. And he will defend this base most likely, but yeah, he needs that Stargate. Finally, the Stargate comes down. He needs motherships to be able to deal with this late game composition that he's basically baited out here. And he's trying to drop force shields, but under Ultralisks.
He's flanked. He is flanked. He's trying to flank here. Symbol, that is going in. That the force
this is a
fields
terrible
are crushed.
engagement, though, for Symbol.
Yeah, it's really horrible. Finally, some decent force fields. The Ultralisks are not there in time to take them down. and Symbol is losing a ton of units here.
Yeah, I think that was a way too big of an overcommitment there. He does force the cancel on the Nexus, but he didn't need to follow through there. 142 Zerlings in production, but he's lost those key units, and the Colossi, the Colossi remain alive.
That was really bad by Symbol. The idea was to flank him from two sides to just make sure that he's going to trap them. And he thought, okay, with the Ultralisk in my position, force fields won't matter. But he didn't have any Ultralisks with the second part of the army. So suddenly all those Infestors and Zerglings, Roaches that he tried to get in here with the Banelings, they just didn't matter in the fight.
No,
and
they did not.
For Seed, this was brilliant. This was exactly what he needed. Symbol is still ahead in supply, but just look how much his income, not his income, but his bank dropped. He's down to below 100 minerals at this point.
Yeah, he is only about 20 supply ahead in army, and he's just got so many Zerglings as part of his composition. With this many Colossi, though, and with force fields available and Storm soon to be done, those Zerglings are just not going to be useful. Once the Zerglings fall, the Ultras are not really able to do anything either, and a Mothership will be started very soon, Calder. This is a very key engagement here. Symbol needs to make this work cost efficiently. Those force fields are not going to be very useful. A good fungal here and a lot of hesitation from Seed.
Oh, he's trying to move in right now. He has the Ultralisk at the front, a lot of Banelings moving in, and Seed, he needs to back off here. But the Infestors, are they able to cast another fungal? Doesn't look like it. He's moving and taking down 1, 2, and maybe even the third Colossi doing a really good job. Finally some damage. Seed drops below 100 supply at this point, while we have Symbol on 160 remaxing on the Zerglings, and the Protoss player is in trouble. Incredible miracle. Seed is on the run here, trying to reinforce with Stalkers and Zealots, but whoa, this is a lot of pressure here by Symbol.
Yeah, this may be, in fact, this will very likely be game ending here. He did not utilize the firepower of his Colossi. He was trying to save them, but in the end, he couldn't even do that. And his Colossi all ate a ton of Ultralisk tusks, basically. The Ultralisk, man, they got on top of those Colossi and took them out in seconds. And that is it. GG. Symbol looking very dominating in this first game, not only with his late game composition and transitions, but also his aggressive 3-base pushing with the Roaches and Zerlings kept Seed on a defensive. I think the biggest thing to note about that game was Seed's passivity. I mean, his force fields were poor as well, but his passivity really allowed Symbol to do whatever he wanted in the late game, even without taking gas at that fourth base.
Symbol definitely had a problem with his first attack, but the second one did the trick, and Seed, as you mentioned, he was very passive. I think with the opening that he had in the late third base that he just could not establish, he was a little bit afraid that he was caught out of guard or was running into a run by. But yeah, he did not want to push out, and that gave Symbol just all the time and opportunities that he needed. He closes the deal, takes the game, and is in the lead now with 1-0 against a very strong Protoss player. So Symbol just following up what we already saw at the weekend.
Yeah. And this is a player who is someone that I feel like he wasn't known until recently because of his performance in Iron Squid, and he's that guy everyone's kind of been like, it's one of those TSL players, what's he really going to do? And I think it's fair that he wasn't known until now because he hasn't really been able to show great play, but he's really doing it now.
Well, I think he has been good for quite a while. It's not about the final of the Iron Squid, but he won one of the qualifiers where he defeated players like Bomber. So he did a great job there, and he made a bit of a splash at the finals. That's apparent, so you're right.
Yeah,
about that,
and he also defeated Nestea and ZVZ, which anyone who can do that is actually a good player in ZVZ at the very least.
Yeah.
It's a matchup that Nestea has been dubbed the master of for a really, really long time. And I think we just have just a short delay here before we get into the third game, but let's talk. Well, go ahead. I'll let you say.
Yeah, the problem when you just said that he was not really that known is if you talk about Korea, obviously in Korea everyone knows who Symbol is. We casted him in a lot of tournaments, but it's always a bit different when you're in Europe, far away, or in the US, so you might not have heard of Symbol yet. And if you didn't, it's not a shame, but he played very well in the past too. Those Iron Squid qualifiers that we talked about, online qualifiers to reach the final tournament, they were actually so absolutely stacked with great players, and he did amazing there. So now he's doing very well in Code S2, but still he's not out of it just yet. He has to defeat the Incredible Miracles Protoss player on a dual side, which is the next map.
A very good map for Zerg. It's a tough map for Protoss to play on. If the Protoss can hold that second base fairly well, though, it becomes a fairly even map, but it's very difficult to hold the natural, and even harder to take a third base if the Zerg gets ahead of you. So this is a very, very cutthroat map, I would say, for this matchup. And basically, it's so hard for Zerg because the third base is really far away, and it's easy for the Protoss to hit a 2-base timing and kill that third base. But at the same time, if the Zerg gets ahead from any sort of early aggression, the Protoss it's very difficult for the Protoss to extend himself out to that third base because that can be so easily attacked by roaches. And then even there's a path into the natural, so Zergling's going to attack there, so you can attack from 2 different sides. It's a pretty tough map for both races, but I would definitely give the edge to Zerg here. What are your thoughts on this map, actually?
I have to admit that I really don't like it all that much in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. It's a map that I kinda enjoy in a lot of TVZs because they are very aggressive and there's a lot of stuff happening. Still, you have sometimes these late game compositions. But I feel that for every other matchup, it's a map that I don't really like because I can't even describe why. It's just really weird. The push distance is so small. You always have to be afraid of very heavy all-ins, and it's just...
It's a very wide open natural. There's 2 different paths, one of which is blocked by line of sight.
Very, very hard to take, and I don't know. It's not my favorite map in the map pool at this point. It's a lot better than maps that we had in the past. Calm Before the Storm or Crossfire comes to mind, but it's probably one of the weaker maps in the current map pool.
Yeah, I would agree. You know what else I would say about this map is that I hate that the watchtowers are warp gates. I think that's really stupid, man. Why don't they make... I mean...
The map is actually racist.
The LS Prime, he's made so many good maps with cool watchtowers, you know, standard watchtowers, special looking watchtowers. He's shown all sorts of cool watchtowers in the past, but on this map he just made it into like a warp gate that switches back from gateway mode into warp gate mode as a watchtower. I think that's kind of silly, to be perfectly honest.
For the next map, I demand a a Xel'Naga watchtower that is formed as a spire and pops into a greater spire and back.
Yeah, man, and then afterwards we can have a watchtower.
A mini hive. I want a mini hive.
We could have a watchtower that's like a barracks that like flies into the air and it gives more vision than when you get away from it, it just lands.
I really want a mini hive. Just picture a mini hatch that does the triple upgrade.
Oh,
boom, and then it's a hive. And
that would be
back
cool.
Back to hatch. That would be kind of fun.
Imagine. Have you seen, by the way, this Zerg hatchery cake with drones on it? Have you seen this picture? It's an older picture.
It's an older one. Isn't
Yeah,
I've seen this.
It's so cool, man. I wish someone would make that for me. Before I left America to come to Korea, one of my friends made me actually a Nexus cake. It was not as good. I know my friend might be watching back at home. It wasn't as good as the hatchery cake, but it was still really good. All right. And that's always so cool when people can do creative stuff like that. That's what I love about the StarCraft community. They're always creative and putting their talents to use to just say, you know what, I want to make a Zerg hatchery cake. And I just love to see that.
Are we currently waiting for Seed, by the way?
Yeah.
It might have had some problems, I don't know.
Yeah, it's potentially some hardware problems. It looks like it's a mouse problem.
Yeah. Apparently it's a problem with his mouse, so...
Well, that may have explained some of his force field mistakes last game. Not what I expected to see from him.
I don't know. I mean, the first thing that you need to do if you're really experiencing a problem with your peripherals is to pause the game.
Yeah, right? So really weird that
maybe they just popped up. But yeah, his force fields were a little bit shaky.
Some of them later on were better, so that leads me to believe that it's probably not related to his mouse. But he is coming into the lobby now. And we're gonna find out in just a second if these players are ready. This music for us to just talk to each other has been quite nice, you know? We just have this music in the background, like we're talking like it's a scene from some movie or something, I don't know. Alright, it looks like we asked them if they're ready. And they are in fact ready, so we are gonna start the game.
And we have Alive with his new glasses.
Oh,
did you hear that story, by the way, before he went to Iron Squid?
No, I didn't hear that.
Alive, the old party boy, was going out with us, and, well, he got a little bit drunk and dropped his glasses, stepped on them, and broke them.
Oh, I didn't hear that story.
He had extra glasses, so it was fine, but still, that was quite funny.
That's really interesting, man.
And he was just standing there, like, really sad, and he looked at his glass, he looked at me, and he was like, pressure. He's awesome. Alive is just awesome.
He is indeed. Well, it looks like our players are in the game now. Let's jump into Symbol against Seed, game number 2 here at the GSL Code A with Caldor and Wolf.